Hey everyone. Tonight with the Open Hearth, we are playing in our Silent Falls continuity a new game called Come On In. It's a car from Brindle game by Wes Franks. It's set in a small town in Louisiana, but we have moved it to the Pacific Northwest because that's where Silent Falls is. Um, my name is Donna. My pronouns are he, him. I'm going to be GMing. Let's get a quick intro from our players and their characters, and then we will start the play. Mark, you first.
Hi, I'm Mark, pronounce he, him, and I am playing Megan Ellis, uh, she, they. And Megan is a state police detective who has spent most of her time recently behind the desk in the basement at Police HQ because she was being too aggressive with um, some people she was dealing with in the field, and probably causing some problems for herself at the headquarters as well. And she is um, has kind of a penchant for picking fights with people. That's the way she tends to blow off steam. What else did we want to know about her, Donna?
What do people call her?
Well, I don't know if people call her this, but her partner calls her Miss Tyson. Which is a reference to her wanting to rough people up and get messed up in return and bite off ears, possibly.
Okay, great. Um, yeah, I think that's enough to start with. Tad, how about you?
Yeah, I'm Chad Cooper, he, him. I play Elliot Ricard, also he, him. Uh, Elliot is a older detective, also with the state troopers here in Pacific Northwest. He is just, uh, always nearing to retirement, but somehow never reaching it. Uh, Now, maybe the new thing that keeping me from retiring is, my new partner that I need to, show the proper way of doing things, tame her a little bit. And I'm also actually from Silent Falls, which I left a long time ago to originally to go to seminary and become priest, but somewhere along the way I changed my focus into becoming a policeman, a detective. Uh, yeah, and yeah, my way of work is more steady and organized than my partners. And oh, I also have family in Silent Falls. My son lives there now with his wife. I think that's all.
Yeah, yeah, sounds good. Um, so let's get a quick idea of who these people are. Each of you can narrate a short vignette showing your detective grasping onto life before carrying on with this investigation, or given that's the first session, starting this investigation. Um, something mundane and dull, that doesn't satisfy. Um, Mark, do you want to start with Megan's?
Yeah, so I think that we open on the exterior of a gas station, and Megan is using the payphone, and she has called her ex-boyfriend on-off boyfriend Jeff, who's a state trooper, um, because Jeff is taking care of Megan's big orange tabby cat in her apartment while she is gone. And so we see her. being very she's very direct with Jeff, and she's like, so you can't just put the food in the bowl, all of it once a day. That's what I'm trying to impress upon you, okay? You have to put in 1/3 cup in the morning, 1/3 in the afternoon, and then 1/3 in the evening, okay? Just like you eat 3 times a day, T-Rex needs to eat 3 times a day as well. Also, I do have a plant, and I do want you to water that plant. You know the one that I'm talking about? It's that spider plant. But don't overwater it. Okay? Right. All right. Yeah. I'll check back in again with you tomorrow. Okay? Right. Thanks. And then she hangs up and walks back to the car where maybe Elliot is. But she finishes she pulls the gas nozzle out of the car and puts it away and goes inside to pay.
Okay, awesome. How about Elliot? How do we see how are we introduced to him? Oh, you're muted.
Uh, well, yes, I'm waiting in the car for Megan to come back. And while she's dealing with this, I am listening to some sort of instrumental jazz from the cassette recorder, while also taking out my book of, let's say, Brothers Karamazov, that I just, casually start reading a chapter of while I'm waiting for you. And yeah, the camera also notices that I have like photo of my family just using as a bookmark to mark where I ended with the book. There's me, my wife, my son, and his wife. And yeah, and as she comes back, I ask, "You dealt with what you needed to deal with?"
Yeah. Yep. Let's just get to checking out this body, see what's going on.
I mean, if he can take care of a cat, I don't think it's really it's really it's really possible to him being able to maintain a relationship.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, wouldn't you? He's a real pain in the ass.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting from what I heard from you,
Yeah. Do you want to check in?
including the.
Do you want to call Philip, let him know you're in town?
Oh, I already did yesterday.
Okay. Awesome. Well, we got a full tank.
Of course we do.
So
I
I
tank
think
a
we
gas before you woke up. It's fine.
Oh, no wonder it was so inexpensive.
so yeah,
And I
let's
just start an engine and right off the gas station.
so let me read the prologue. This is just a scene where we see the murder happen and then introduce you to the scene of the crime. Crickets chirp through the misty night air. Camera pans across tall grass, nearly as tall as a white-tailed doe, swaying and rustling in the breath-like wind. Water slightly gurgles as it yearns to swallow the silt and foliage that blankets it. Creatures of the Pacific Northwest swell like an orchestra until the symphony is cut short. The scream in the night stops nature in its tracks. We see a silhouette crash across the screen, narrowly avoiding tripping into the black waters of the mud, quickly collecting themselves. Ragged breathing and coughing erupt from their mouth. They've never run this much in their life. They take a moment to catch their breath until the sound of footsteps crunching and cascading through the underbrush gets them moving again. After nearly 15 minutes of non-stop running, the silhouette ducks into a hollowed-out tree trunk and covers her mouth, attempting to minimize the amount of noise. The night grows as quiet as the dead. The person who we now see is a young woman, slim and with her whole life ahead of her, scared and crying, but attempting to keep themselves from making a peep. We hear a ragged and breathy voice call out, "Hello? Can you hear me out there? I'm not trying to hurt you. I just want to show you something so neat. Come out wherever you are." The voice is interrupted by more cracking and rustling. There's a shift of weight nearby and the sound of grass smoothing out. Then the voice continues as it drifts away. "I can hear you. You can run, but you can't hide." The noises drift off into the night. We see Lisa Briarwood's eyes wide open and then relax as they let out a sigh of relief. Then they're snatched from the trunk and dragged off into some underbrush and mud. Screams turn to gurgles, then bubbles, then nothing. Nothing but still black water. The next scene we see is daytime at the bald cypress tree. Farmland seemingly circles a giant tree. A solitary dirt road cuts a swathe through the farm straight to the tree. It's been used as a lover's lane, a high school gathering site, and worse. Crash litters the scene. As you park somewhere nearby, you can see a cluster of state troopers and local sheriff's department here. Deputy approaches you.
So,
He's young, looks overconfident, although it looks like some of the confidence has been kicked out of him, metaphorically speaking, at least.
I
You hear
think
from state.
so. I think Megan is she kind of defers to the old man being in charge. She kind of nods in response.
yeah. So what do we have here?
Oh, the victim is a 23-year-old female. We've identified her, not formally, as Lisa Briarwood, local family. Some kind of ritual, I would say. Looks pretty freaky.
Well, poor. Briarwoods are still around. It's gonna be terrible for her mother. Well, let's go and see.
So this deputy's, is this Wallace?
Wallace, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I will just start walking towards the crime scene.
So yeah, I mean, most of the kind of local law enforcement here are, either like doing a haphazard search away from the body or like standing nearby and like looking away. They're like basically no one seems to be uh, really too comfortable with this situation. Let's paint the scene here. You find the body next to the tree. Elliot, how has the body been posed in an unsettling manner that would make someone think this is an act of satanic ritual murder?
Oh, if it's supposed to be satanic, then I think that we're talking, being hanged, head down, legs up, head down, with heads, kind of spread around uh, around the tree, just tied to it with a duct tape, and then she's being held onto it with some sort of rope that's tied to her legs and to some branches. So she's kind of like, upside down crucified, but, by someone who's kind of in a hurry or doesn't really know, doesn't really have that much of a just combination of rope and duct tape. And also her clothes have been taken from her and carefully folded next to her, and she's like covered in some sort of white just some sort of big white sheet of textile, sheet of cloth. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. And Megan, what about the tree suggests that animals avoid getting anywhere near its branches?
Yeah, so the tree, it is there are a few elements, I think. One is that all the leaves are intact. There are no nests, squirrel nests, bird nests. It's a fruiting tree, which should be picked clean by this time, by this part of the season, and has not been. And around the base of the tree, there is a the grass that grows at the base of the tree is undisturbed and just grows straight up.
So I don't know, do we want to change the type of tree? I think I'd said
Because
cypress
it
tree,
started
right?
as
But
cypress. Yeah.
uh,
No, we can keep it as a cypress.
okay.
Which I mean, it's not a fruiting tree, but I mean, I don't know. I don't think it is. So we can just skip the fruiting part and keep the other parts that I had
Okay.
said.
Okay. Um, but yeah, no nests, no whatever you call squirrel places.
Mm-hmm.
Dance, I
Do
think.
Yeah. Um, what does Megan think of that?
Um, so she has a little bit of experience with weird occurrences, tiny bit. Um, she thinks it is odd that people are staying away from this tree and or that animals have been. Um, does it look like it had to does it look like it had to have been climbed in order to position the body in this way, probably? Or they could have brought in a ladder, I suppose. Um, I think that she turns to Elliot and says, I don't know if you've ever been out here this to this area before, but does this tree have a history?
Well, it's yes, it's a it was a place. This is where you go this is where children go when they want to tell each other scary stories, and you have to approach this tree. There's a Everybody tells stories about how there were some sort of poachers or gold miners killed and hidden under the branches of this tree. But well, it's those are the things that you say to other teenagers when you want to appear impressive.
Donna, you had said that, but it looked like people frequent this area because there was garbage and stuff strewn around, but animals won't go into the tree, apparently. Okay. That's what I was just trying to recall. Thank you.
I muted. Do you want to examine this scene? Look for witnesses, talk to the local cops. What do you think your first step is here?
I think that Megan says, "Hey Wallace, who's running this show?"
Uh, well, I mean that'd be the sheriff, Sheriff Barnes.
Where's your sheriff?
I think she's she went over to the Briarwoods.
Well, she looks at Elliot, kind of shakes her head, like, I don't know. Did you think about maybe keeping people from tramping around all over here to Wallace?
Uh, oh, yeah, I mean we had to make I mean we had to make sure she was dead, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
But I mean we like the guy I told the guys to not come too close, to search out there, wait for you guys. I listen, I haven't done anything wrong.
All right.
yeah.
Well, can let your
Of
sheriff.
course, Billy. Of course, Billy. You're doing all right. Uh, I understand you don't have things like this around here very often.
Is Elliot being kind of protective and kind of trying to, or
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Uh, I mean, those are like, those are my, home folks. Like, I know their families and stuff, probably. So,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Well, can you let the sheriff know that we're here if she wants to make her way back?
Oh yeah, I mean, I called on the walkie-talkie, so yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
she knows you're here.
Tad, do you want to like do the first kind of, do you want to do a search for clues here in the area or
Yeah, I think I would. I would
sounds
start
good.
searching for clues. Just yeah. Also, you notice that as I'm approaching this, I like discreetly cross myself, and then uh, I start examining the place, taking some photos, and
Okay.
looking at. Yeah.
So, and is Megan kind of standing back and observing, or kind of shadowing Elliot, or
She's shadowing and preparing um once this kind of sequence is over to um find out who found the body.
okay, okay,
All that line of questioning.
yeah. So how about we'll just this is just an investigation move, I think. So when you search
Yeah.
for evidence, interrogate a witness, or otherwise gather information, describe how you're doing so, and roll with the appropriate ability. So I think, you're taking a look at the scene, whatever passes for high tech camera work or evidence gathering.
Yeah.
What do you think this is? Is this detect? So you're kind of intelligence, picking out details? Or is this so gruesome that basically your ability to keep your cool is kind of the most important thing?
Well, yeah. Let's say that this is a gruesome murder. This is a ritual murder, which is always very disturbing. Uh, something something about this place and stuff. I think this would be my balance.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's
Uh, so I have a dice roller. Just put it in the chat. So you're going to be rolling 2 dice. I don't think there is any advantage or disadvantage going on right here. So yeah, 2 dice and then add +2 for your balance.
plus two. Yeah,
Nice.
it was a 10. Uh,
So have I been unable to paste that move in correctly? Because it looks like there's no 10.
It's missing the
Let me
10.
let me
I
check.
mean, it has on hit, you find evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. So I guess there's no
Yeah,
seven. There's
yeah.
no 7 to 9 complication. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
My copying pasting is fine. My reading ability is not. Um. So yeah. What is interesting that you find? Yeah, I mean, I think given that it is so gruesome, right, there is um, what looks like ritual carvings on the body. And maybe this is something that um, you will have to have, um, confirmed in autopsy. But to you, the marks on her legs look like something left by an animal. So not this kind of precise or even frenzied cutting with a knife, but something much more feral. Now, how does Elliot react when he realizes what he's looking at, even if he doesn't understand it?
Yeah, I will point it to Megan. You see? What do you think this is?
The hell does something like that? Kind of animals you got around here?
Big dog, I would say. I would guess.
Huh. Do you
Maybe
think
a
it
puma.
does it look like does it look like it happened after they strung her up here or before? Do clues work such that there's not going to really be any kind of that's the clue and there's not going to be any further
Yeah,
detail
and
in it?
so yeah, as usual in a carved by Brindlewood game, you can hypothesize, but until you make that final roll to crack the case, you're not really setting anything in stone. Um, again, like if we add in more detail, then we're painting ourselves into a corner a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, the
Yes.
flip side is, the complexity of the case is only two, and if you get more clues, obviously you can leave stuff behind that you decide doesn't fit your nice theory in the end. So
Yeah. Well, hard to say about autopsy, but well, people who have marks of both human and animal attacks are not very common. I mean, could be that whoever did this to her already found her after she was attacked by an animal. Or it could be that he sent the animal after her. Well, we'll see
Oh,
where this goes.
that's weird. Hey, Wallace, who found the body out here?
and I think he's been away from you, talking to a few other cops. A mix of sheriff's department and kind of state troopers. Thankfully, Jeff is nowhere in sight.
Yeah.
Um, and like as you walk over, you hear them talking about a football game, right? They're uh, laughing about some incident that happened last Friday night, in this college game that they were looking at. So,
I, she's gonna say, "Hey, Wallace, Wallace,
oh yeah, sorry, ma'am.
hey, a little fucking decorum around here, maybe."
How can I help you, officer?
Who found her?
The Broussards. Their farm is that way about 2 miles. Well, more like a mile and a half straight.
Okay.
You want me to bring you over?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think she'll look at Elliot. Do you want to go talk to the Broussards?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Take us over.
They're
Is the
still holding
Broussard
onto their farm. So,
I'm sorry, what was that, Ted?
They're still holding onto their farm. Interesting. Well, let's go see if they noticed anything interesting.
So yeah, I mean it's probably drive over, right? Takes it's a lot longer than a mile and a half via the road that you take. And yeah, you end up on this fairly rundown farm, obviously not doing too well. Um, there's a kid, I don't know, a boy of maybe 7 or 8, or maybe he's just small for his age, sitting on a tree trunk with a hatchet, chopping up, well, trying to chop up a log. And he looks up at the car, probably 2 cars if Wallace has led you here in your own car. And he kind of looks and yells out to his mama. But he continues chopping. So Wallace gets out and he nods at the kid, who ignores him. And Marigold Broussard, who is the boy's mother, looks like she's in her kind of mid to late 30s. Looks tired, smoking. Comes out, opens the door before he knocks, and says, "You're back." And Wallace, like points at you and says, "These officers might want to ask you, your husband, and maybe even little G over there, a few questions."
Well,
Ma'am.
sorry to bother you, but we just arrived and we need to hear the story how you found this, if it's not too much.
Did you find uh the site over there, Ms. Broussard?
Indeed, yeah, I found her this morning.
Interesting. Do you remember what time that was?
Maybe uh, half an hour after dawn.
Mm-hmm. What were you doing up there when you came across her?
I was picking berries.
Um, so Ted, I'm looking at this. Both of our wiles are 0, so
Yeah.
we're not going to make any kind of connection in that way with her. But I think that uh so I'm going to continue to ask her these kinds of questions.
Yeah. Ask. Like I did one investigation, so I guess it makes sense that you ask.
Yeah,
See how it
yeah.
goes.
Yeah. So see if we
I mean,
can
you can try to win her over with your wiles. The dice will decide.
well, I kind of feel like I want to intimidate her instead.
Ah, okay, okay.
No, I don't know if a grit really works that way. Um, but
Sure it does.
does
Sure
it?
it
Okay.
does. Yeah.
So I think she leans into it a little bit, and that is Megan does, and she says, "Is there a Mr. Broussard?
There sure is.
Is he around right now?"
Uh, he's up on a long field doing work.
All right. Well,
I mean, he was fast asleep when I left. So yeah, I
so
don't think he can help you out.
you were up before him.
Yeah,
Is that usually the way that it works around here?
yeah,
I see. And that's your boy out there.
yeah.
Did he sorry. I was laughing because you're laughing at the line of questioning here. Did he happen to be with you out there?
No,
Hmm. Um, what can you tell us about
listen.
the
I
moment?
told all this to that idiot Billy earlier.
Yeah. So is Billy in here with us?
No, he's
Oh,
gone.
okay.
Ah,
Um,
ah.
so here's the thing. Um, Billy Billy's trying his best, but this is different.
Listen, I just called him an idiot. I know what he's like.
So why don't you tell us?
Bushes around the field, the north field where the cypress tree is, have good berries. I pick them most mornings around this time of the year. I make jam, preserves, a pie maybe if they're good. I could show you the bucket full.
Yeah, Megan was kind of looking around to see if she did see the berries and
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
Are they evident here in the inside the house?
Yeah, there's like I think in the kitchen sink, there's still
Okay.
a bucket of berries, right?
yeah,
A mix
yeah,
like slow berries, blackberries, whatever.
Okay.
yeah,
So I think that like continuing these questions is probably not really what we want to do. I should probably just roll at this
yeah,
point since we've
yeah,
established the kind of line of questioning or no.
yeah.
Yeah,
Anyone?
yeah.
Ah,
You can roll, and we can see where this goes. Maybe there's
ah,
something
ah,
she didn't
ah,
think to tell the idiot Billy.
yes.
Um,
Um,
do you want me to roll with Wiles since I didn't really lean on her too much? Or
uh,
detect? Maybe I'm trying to pick up something about try to catch her in some misinformation or something.
yeah, I mean, you were too bemused to be too forceful there, I think. So, I think bonding over the idiot Billy Wallace will make it Wiles.
Okay. Wiles it is. Oops. Lichen. Okay. 6. That's a miss.
Okay. So here's a chance to think about whether you want to take a miss. Um, I'll
Oh,
narrate what happens, but you can choose to lock a shackle to increase your die result by 1 tier, so a 6 becomes a 7 to 9, and so on. We narrate a different result, um, and yeah, we move on, and that will also probably uh, with unlocking a shackle, give us a flashback or some other effect, depending on which you go. So yeah, I think she is. She told you everything in a very matter-of-fact way, and now she
Mm-hmm.
starts to do some housework, and she's just like maybe telling you, "Oh yeah, I went up there and I saw, like, I heard a crow caw, and I said, oh, fucking kids have been out drinking, or whatever it is, uh, you know, and I went up to see if I needed to tidy up, or whatever it is, like fucking condoms up there. I don't want my kid finding. Um, but there was the body, obviously, and like she obviously dead. So I came back. I called the cops.
Okay.
That's it.
So I can increase the level of success by taking a shackle of justice or of liberty. Either
Yeah,
one. Okay.
yeah.
Um, I wonder if um do you would you rather not me have me take something like the discarded clue this early in the game that shifts because I think she's starting to feel like, see, this is the problem. This normal line of questioning never works.
So, uh, in the shackles of justice, you have to tick those in order.
Oh, okay. Got it.
With the shackles of liberty, you can pick anything.
Got it. Then I'll take the grainy photograph because I like
Okay.
that one anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Uh, so okay. So let's bump that to 7 to 9, which means that you find evidence, but there's a complication.
Hmm.
Um, and as she's tidying up, like she's moving stuff around, and you notice wine bottles. I mean, these don't seem like the kind of folk to be drinking wine. Classism alert. Um, but also, there's something about these wine bottles that doesn't make it seem like the kids who hang out here would be drinking these. These look like expensive wine bottles.
Wait, these are
And
inside.
obviously, like she's been handling them, and they've obviously actually been in the bucket with all the berries, like so that
Hmm.
she could carry them down from the hill. Maybe she picked them up before she got to the tree and noticed the dead body, right? So in terms of any kind of real evidence, they're kind of spoiled. How does that sound?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you say when you notice the very expensive um, labels on these empty wine bottles?
I think that she'll pick one up and looks at the label and says, champagne tastes, beer budget. Am I right?
I mean, I just picked those up. They weren't near the body.
They weren't near the body.
They weren't near the, they were like in the field, but nowhere near the body. I mean, I picked them up while I was picking berries.
All right.
Any idea who's leaving them there?
Well, I just assume kids, right? Teenagers. I mean, robbing their family wine cellars or whatever the fuck.
Oh, those kids have to have some serious spending money or access to some expensive wine cellars.
Sure. Well, they're maybe this is before you want to take them as evidence. Well, I just use them to store stuff in here.
But yeah, I put on my gloves and like take one of them, put them into a uh
Paper evidence bag.
yeah paper bag for evidence. Maybe we can take fingerprints later. Okay, by the way, the coroner have arrived here or not? That's
Uh,
like back when we went
yeah,
there.
I think probably has arrived at the scene now,
Yeah,
after you've done your investigation before he can
yeah.
take the body away. So yeah, you can always swoop by and meet him. Um, how about we take a break and then come back and do that, unless you have any more
Sure.
questions for Marigold. Oh, okay. Okay, we'll take 5 minutes. Okay. Okay, so I think the medical examiner, the coroner's office, is pretty new. I think when we saw Silent Falls in the 70s, there was basically no medical center. But I think the arrival of the resort has forced it to up its game somewhat. So now there's a coroner. Um, so you find him, scrubbed up, uh, and about to make his first incision on the body. His name is Hog Doyle. Uh, he's a relatively young man with thick rimmed Coke bottle glasses, curly hair, um, and looks like he doesn't really eat. Kind of skinny. Looks like it's just a skeleton under those clothes, under those scrubs. But smiles strangely when you come in, like he's got something to show you. Uh, have you met Hogdoll before? He is fresh in from Portland. Um, although he grew up here, so I'm not sure if either of you have met him professionally or personally before. What do you think, Megan?
I don't think so. I was trying to think of you know what? Yeah, since he's fresh here from Portland, let's go ahead and make a connection if that's okay with you, Tad.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
okay. So I think that um Doyle Hogg had been had done an internship of a sort at at State HQ, working with some crime lab folks there.
Yeah. And what do you
So
think your relationship was?
yeah, Elliot and I probably both know him then.
Yeah.
And I think that let's see. Um, he seems aloof, and I think that Megan didn't make a connection with him, but he seemed like seems like he's very smart and very focused.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Come on
think
in here, folks. We have a front row seat for something I think is extraordinary.
Really? What
well, that's a one way to put it.
what's extraordinary here, Hog?
Megan, why don't you come over here, uh, wash your hands, put on a pair of gloves, and I want you to tell me what you see is going on here.
All right. So she does very cursorily wash her hands, pulls the gloves on.
And I think maybe the chest cavity is open, right? The rib cage
Hmm.
is being
Yeah.
opened.
Yeah.
Um, why don't you reach in there and tell me, tell me what you think of the heart.
Well, really isn't my. She's trying to like get an angle to see inside the chest cavity and see the heart.
So, do you think is this like the day move, the jour move, as the game tells us, when you do something
Is you?
risky or face something you fear? Is
Yes.
this icking out Megan a little?
And I think that as a matter of fact, she's got like this sense a little bit that if she puts her hand in there, some irrationally something's going to take her hand
Okay.
and
She
pull
was
her.
traumatized as a child watching The Thing.
Probably. Yeah. So let's see. So this is doing something risky, facing something that you fear. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's the fear. And
Uh,
what do you think's the appropriate ability?
I mean, is this balance or like you're trying to keep
Yeah, she's
calm?
trying to keep her
Yeah.
cool. Of
Yeah.
course. That makes perfect sense. Yes.
That makes sense to
Uh,
me.
that's +1. So 2d6 +1. 11.
Nice. I just spotted the lichen.
Yeah, I
You
don't
changed
know
that
what.
since the last time. Awesome. So you do what you intended, or you hold steady. Describe what it looks like. Will I describe what you find?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the heart is like shriveled, like a prune.
Okay, this is Lisa Briarwood, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Her heart is shriveled like a prune. Um, so I think that she doesn't know if she was supposed to pull the heart out, but she has. She's grasped it and she's like pulling it out from the chest cavity. And when she sees this, she looks up at Elliot, like this meaningful eye contact. Like, have you ever seen something like that? Because I haven't. Um,
Yeah, Elliot is as stunned as you are looking at this. Was this some sort of genetic condition?
Well, I don't know. I'll have to do some tests. Um, I mean, there's other things going on here that I really
Should she
You're
even
a
be
smart
alive
guy.
with this?
You're a smart guy, Mr. Richard. I must say, your reputation precedes you.
Ah.
I think the department would be much worse off without you when you do retire.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of other people who are as capable as I am. It's not.
And I think his eyes flicker over to Megan, and it's like he doesn't shake his head, but
Ah,
I think Megan says, I mean, this thing wouldn't be able to pump blood, right?
yeah. Um, I think it might be a good opportunity to make the investigation move because you're gathering information from the coroner, right?
Yeah. So
Um,
I thought that
so
was the clue.
oh, that
I
wasn't a
thought the
clue.
shriveled
That was
heart was the clue.
I was just freaking out, Megan.
Nice.
Um, what do we think? I think Elliot is due a move.
Yeah.
You're
yeah.
both here.
Yeah, I would say this is detect, as I'm trying
Yeah,
to make
for sure.
sense of this. Like somehow make this make sense. So this is a 2d6 plus 1. Let's roll. 11.
Okay. Nice. Another 11. Okay. So you find the evidence.
Yeah.
No complication, no extra. There's something, not right about this, even though, it's not been that long since you don't have a time of death, but it's like less than 24 hours. There's a certain amount of lividity,
Yeah.
but not as much as you would expect.
Yeah.
And Hog points to like a sample jar, and it's marked blood sample, and it's basically empty.
So,
There was no blood in her veins. She was completely and miraculously exsanguinated.
I see.
I mean, have I ever seen it? We assume it's happened in mummification or, you know, funeral services do something like it, but I've never seen it on a victim.
Yes. Which brings us to the other question. Where did the blood go?
You're the detective.
Yeah, no, I'm just like going to Megan, like, just. Yeah, let's say
Yeah.
that I have that, sort of camera that, like, passes out the pictures.
Polaroid.
Yeah, Polaroid that just, just like showed a few pictures. There's almost no blood around the tree.
No, it couldn't have soaked it. We'd have seen that amount of blood loss. We would have seen.
Yes. Which tells us one thing, I think. That was not a scene of crime.
Okay, right. That makes sense. Move the body after death.
So someone killed her somewhere else. Wild animal was either wild animal or dog were somewhere involved, or something like that. They drained all the blood, then moved her there. Oh yeah, I will ask coroner. Like, what's the time of death? Based on the temperature of the body.
Yeah, I'm putting it somewhere between midnight and 2 a.m.
I'm like thinking out loud. How long does it take to drain all the blood from the body?
I know that well, I mean I've heard stories of like slaughterhouses where they kill animals and um I think they drain pretty quickly, but certainly not through. I mean, are these marks on her thighs the only kind of exit wounds that we found? The only kind of wounds that
Well,
we found?
I mean, there's these dagger marks, but none of those would really explain exsanguination. To be honest, my initial uh, assessment is that they are post-mortem.
Okay.
I mean, there's bites, scratches. I mean, it's a bit of a mess. It's hard to tell, but
Where are these dagger marks? I'm asking as a player.
oh, on the body, so on the torso.
She has, okay, somehow I didn't pick it up. Okay. Um, Go ahead, Tad.
Well, this seems very, very specific and all. I think we should try to contact someone on the headquarters and maybe even ask FBI if they didn't encounter something like that.
Yeah,
Because if someone does something like that,
it's gonna stick out.
I'm I'm gonna think that this is not the first time they did it.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly haven't seen anything in the literature or even heard strange stories at the coroner conventions. Um, but yeah, you should definitely reach out to the FBI. There's an X file with this kind of thing in
Yeah,
it somewhere.
yeah.
I think that,
Yeah,
go ahead, please.
there's a database of like suspected like serial killers and their stuff. It's actually a thing that exists. So
I mean, do you,
uh,
do you
they can try to
remember,
pair it up with new things.
Officer Richard, do you remember there was a case here in like the 50s or something? I don't remember, except when I was told by my parents not to go near the dump. Apparently there was a body
Uh,
found with sigils. I have no idea.
uh, well, I
This is a
didn't work on that, but I remember hearing of that.
it's a real
Actually
cozy
interesting.
town you folks have here, from what I can tell.
Yes.
Um, let's not involve the feds here if we don't have to. Let's try to keep it to ourselves for a while, don't you think there? Do you think, Tad? Can we do that?
Uh, uh, I well, we can wait with that until we get more clues on what's going on there, and we should. And yes, I now remember there being a weird ritual thing back in the 80s, back in the 50s here. That is certainly something we should look into. But well, this is a if I have to say something, this is most of all the single murders I've seen in my homicide I've seen in my life. This is the one that most looks like a serial killer's work.
Yeah,
without even seeing anything else.
that checks out.
Uh,
So I don't want to like use up a lot of spotlight, but I have this move that I can do once per session which is the rust and coal move. I would like to do given the opportunity. And I think that I would set it up like the the bloodless shriveled heart is on the scale, and Megan has like taken her gloves off, and she just feels compelled to kind of reach in to the scale, and she reaches in and touches the shriveled heart with her bare skin. Can I roll plus weird for my rust and
Yeah,
coal move?
absolutely. Um,
Mental shitstorm, I think, is coming my direction here. Uh, which is a great name for a move. All right, it's just straight 2d6. Here we go. An 8. So that falls under the 7 and the 9. Um, so you can provide me with a hallucination that seems to bend the space that I am in a way related to the case. I take the mental condition shitstorm and I get a piece of evidence.
you- uh, do you get evidence on
Yeah.
a 7 to
It
9?
says same as above.
Okay, okay. Um, Same as above with the condition. Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Let me look at my clues before I do this. Just want to see what is in my arsenal. Um, so I think when you reach out and you touch the heart, and when you touch it, it starts beating in tandem with your own heart. And you see shining through the window this sun ray, this sunbeam catches you in your eyes and blinds you for a moment, and you have these after images in your retina. And it's the sun, but it's splattered with blood. And you don't realize it straight away. Maybe you don't even realize it till you are going back to the hotel where you're staying tonight. But there's a store in the town that sells, I don't know, weird hippie shit, let's call it, the technical 80s phrase. And the symbol hanging above the door is a tarot sun, which matches the symbol you have just scene in your head.
Yeah, I think as we are, driving next to the shop, I turn to Megan and ask, "What was that in the coroner's office?"
So I think that she'll just tell you the truth. And she says that I don't know, it was like that sign over there, just like that sign over there on that store, the tarot sun. I think we should,
I,
we gotta go ahead.
are you taking again?
No, no. And then she pulls out the sobriety coin and shows it to you and says, "I'm clean." But I don't know. We should probably check that place out. It seems weird for a place like that in a town like this.
Well, there's, the influx of tourists changes towns like that.
Yeah, I
But
guess
if you
so.
wish, that makes you happy. Yeah, I will, park next to the shop. Please, let's see how they are. Please, let's inspect the newest tourist trap.
Okay, let's do it.
So, do you want to keep digging, or do you think you have enough to answer the question, what was the victim's cause of death yet?
It's blood loss? Is that an answer? Because that seems to be what killed the person. That seems to be the cause of death. It's not what it's
I mean, certainly losing all your blood would kill you, but
Yes, yeah.
um,
Dad, what are your thoughts?
Well, well, the only well, there's some scratch marks and stuff, but they seem to be they probably just from running through the forest. The dagger mark seems to be post-mortal, so only pre-mortal deep wounds seem to be the bite marks. Seems like by the process of elimination, those seems to be the only wounds that could kill her, that could have killed her.
Are we meant to by answering this question, are we meant to answer what what was the agent that was
no.
responsible for this
So,
death?
yeah. So it's very simply what was the victim's cause of death? Uh, so yeah, you don't have to don't have to say, oh, it was an animal or it was
Yeah.
some freak or it was a vampire, right? You don't
S-
have to answer that question yet. Um,
So
so
exsanguination
yeah,
seems to fit the
it's
bill.
definitely a baby steps, right? This is
Yeah,
a not answering like the whole case, but this is
right.
this key first question. So yeah, I mean, if you both agree uh,
Yeah, I
that
mean,
that cause of
Yeah.
death is, consistent with all the evidence you've uncovered, or like some of the evidence you've uncovered, you talk about your theory, you work in as many clues as you can, and yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the clue that really uh, the other clues don't make sense in the context yet. Maybe maybe thighs mauled by an animal. Ted, do you have any theories about how the wine bottles are play into this?
Well, not really. I mean, my best theory is that the people who that that we should follow up on that to see, like, who's leaving them those bottles there, and if they knows anything.
Hmm.
But, well, but from draining blood, uh, thighs mauled by animal, and sun splattered by with blood, and just small heart, like, the small heart makes no sense. But like, I think, uh, well, from what we see now, it seems that she was actually killed by animals, and then someone put her in this position, like some sort of sick joke or something.
Hmm. Sun splattered with blood. I feel like I should get more than I do, but I don't. Obviously, I understand how the two things are related. I mean, how it's related to the story generally, but I don't think I can work that one in at the moment. I feel like we need to gather more. In answer to your question, ultimately, we need to gather more clues.
No, that's
Do you feel
that's
like that,
fine.
Tad?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you saw Sun, and then we're going into this shop. You're aware that Sun is a tarot card.
Yeah, but let's see if they have those in there. Let's see if they have some of those cards. Check out the sun card and see what we see on it. Is the shop still open, Donna?
Um, well, I just described sunbeams coming through, so I guess it's daylight at the very least in
Oh yeah, yeah,
spring
of
or
course.
summer
Yeah, yeah.
if there's berries out. So, or maybe autumn. Who knows when these berries come out? So, maybe it's still open. Sure. Um, yeah, and it is a kind of a curio shop with some like a lot of strange stuff, art, occult paraphernalia,
Is this the
whatever.
kind of curio shop that might stay in business for years and years, at least until the
Absolutely.
90s? Okay.
Absolutely.
Um,
And there's a young native kid behind the counter who is reading something, some like tatty pulp science fiction novel from the 60s.
Sweet. Um,
And he takes his feet off the counter and sits up straight when you walk in because he knows you're cops.
what gives it away? Uh, so I'll give the kid an up nod and say, like is he in his teens?
Yeah, he's like 15. He
Oh,
is,
okay.
you know,
I say, hey, you have some of those cards? Do you have some of those t tarot cards around here?
tarot cards. Yeah, yeah. What kind of thing are you looking for? We have a classic, the Rider-Waite. We got some Celtic ones. We have this like John Carter from Mars version, which I'm kind of hoping doesn't sell, so I can blag it for myself. But yeah,
Um, what's the one out on your sign?
oh, the Sun in Splendor. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
The Sun in Splendor? Is
yeah.
that what's that from?
I mean, the sun is in every tarot deck.
What does in Splendor mean?
I mean, like shining.
Okay. So
I mean, I
that's
know
what
we
the
don't get it a lot in the Pacific Northwest, but it happens.
so is that like like the King of Diamonds or something?
No, it's a
Oh, it's a
major
card.
arcana. A major arcana. You know,
It's a
it's
card. It's a
yeah,
major
yeah.
Yes.
arcana. Okay, she's
Yes.
writing in her notebook.
They
Sun.
come with a book. They come with a book. Look, I'll sell it to you for 17.99 plus sales tax, and you can go wild.
She narrows her eyes at him a little bit, like, is he ripping me off? 17.99. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll take one.
Great. Uh, cash, cash. We cash.
And and then she kind of like turns to Elliot while this is taking place because Elliot said it was
Yeah.
describing what it is, and she
Yeah.
says, "You know about this stuff? Is this like
I
Catholic
mean,
stuff?"
no. I I'm just I have varied, palette of interests.
Okay,
You never know what's gonna come up in your case.
sure.
Anyway, on the sun card, you have a yes. She bought a radio water tarot. I'm gonna assume that's the most basic. Yeah, you have a naked child on a white horse with
Gross.
sun above him.
Okay.
It's symbolism. It seems rather interesting given that our victim was also stripped naked and then covered in a white sheet of cloth.
I think that she takes her change and says thanks to the kid and starts peeling the price sticker off the back of the box of cards with her thumbnail. Um, and then starts looking through the book. And she says, "What? It says here that it's sometimes they're upside down. What does that mean? The card's upside down."
They mean the opposite.
So do you think because 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 Lisa Briarwood was upside down, right?
Yeah. And then I will just like take your tarot deck away from you and give you a hanged man card.
A
Just like,
what?
I'm gonna
A hanged man
hanged man.
card?
Yeah, like
What's this?
there's a person on hanged man card, hanging upside down.
Is that what is this what that she's thinking? So this is what they were doing there, do you think?
I mean, now that we are here, it's a possibility.
She's like looking through the book to see what the hanged man means. Says here sacrifice.
Well,
Wow. It says here the hanged man means sacrifice, hanging from a tree like that. And look, there's this, it looks like there's a sun. Is that like a sun behind the guy's head?
like it's supposed to be Halo,
Okay,
but
sure, sure, like on an angel. Okay,
but everyone's interpretation is valid in a sense.
okay. Weird.
There is and also isn't right answer when it comes to tarot.
Um,
Sorry.
does, huh?
Is um no, I mean I think it's interesting, right? Is this like an honest discussion, the like of which Megan and Elegant don't have very often, like where they're
Yeah.
both unsure of what's going on?
Yeah.
She's totally being like just legit straightforward. Yeah.
Mm.
She knows that, Elliot he's had a long career. He's seen a lot of shit, obviously. So she's definitely interested in what the old man has to say. So
Well,
is this
any ideas?
what's the name of the store? Does the store have a name, Donna?
It hasn't previously had a name, but let's
That's
call it the
okay.
Sun and Splendor.
Okay, that's what I was
Yeah,
wondering. Yeah,
yeah.
okay, if that's what we were driving at here. Okay, sorry. So, yeah, Tad, I'm sorry. Do we have any ideas here related to this?
Well,
This feels like it hasn't helped.
seems
I,
more and more like a ritual murder.
Yeah. Um, do you have like uh
Well,
what other leads do we have? We talked to Go ahead, sir.
the wine bottle
Yeah.
and the murder in the 50s are, I think, my only like leads that I have at this point.
Yeah. We should check those
So,
out.
yeah. Hey, the previous sheriff, he's like retired or is he already dead?
Well retired. Um, Annabelle Barnes' father, whose name I should know because Zachary, my character in a town called Malice.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, let's go see Zachary.
And obviously, his let's how will we put this? The face claim for that character was Clancy Brown, so
Yeah.
obviously never up to no good.
Never up to no good. Um, yeah, I like your lead there. Um, Altar Boy. Let's go check out the old sheriff.
So I think there's a two good leads for next week.
Yeah.
And looking at the time, I think maybe we should close up shop. So let's stop the recording and we'll do our debrief and then we will, yeah, pick up next week.
Yeah.
Okay.